Solar eclipse, an abandoning to pass over. 1. The partial or total apparent darkening of the sun when the moon comes between it and the earth. 2. It's when language goes missing, but we can read the universe. 3. As at the onset, A. The wind rises. B. The temperature drops. C. The diminishing light glows in a bleak yellow. D. The birds shelter and hush, while the crickets shrill in the brush, and every tree leaf casts its own moon at our feet. 5. What we begin to understand now is what we don't know. 6. For in no time, each person is a poem on the frontier of dream. 7. Each person a moment in an infinite night. 8. No one, nobody, not a soul, not anyone, not a single person, never a one. 9. None can know why the sun persists. I've always been interested in words and images. Ever since I grew up, I was the kid reading the dictionary and reading the encyclopedia, naming things. It's just kind of in my background. And this exhibit here at the High-Low is called the Dictionary Poem Project. I have a large body of work which is more sculptural, but that is always tied into language and the content of it as well. I was working on a piece of sculpture to donate to River Styx, a literary magazine's fundraiser here in town, and it was called Writer's Block. As I was inserting the pencils into the block, I suddenly decided that I needed to look up writer and block. And when I looked up writer and block in the dictionary, right then and there in my studio, I got very obsessed with the different meanings and where it was leading me. From when I looked up the derivation, there were all kinds of other words and meanings that expanded. It started with the literal derivation and pronunciation, and it started with the literal meaning, but then it riffed off into a poem. There is a kind of poetry called concrete poetry, which is meant to be read as well as seen, and it was popular in the 1950s. So I would say these are somewhat akin to those because they're meant to be seen as well as read. After I have written the text, then I find imagery that springs from the language itself some way, but is not a literal illustration. So they work in tandem together. And these prints are 17 by 22, but they also come in cards. The Dictionary Poem Project is in 2 editions, and the second edition was supported by an artist support grant from the Regional Arts Commission, which I'm very grateful for. And then the second edition was published in December Magazine, which is a local literary magazine, and this exhibit is sponsored by the Kranzberg Foundation, and I'm just grateful that St. Louis is so supportive of the arts.